And we're live.
All right, welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for Monday, January the 8th. Apologize for beginning a little late, but we had that presentation from McClellan Engineers. So if I could have a roll call, Madam Clerk, to establish quorum.
Harry Meyer,
Yeah.
Melissa Green,
Here.
Steve Holofield,
Here.
David Avanzino,
Here.
Terry McClung,
I'm here.
Autumn Slane, here.
All right, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Get a motion for the approval for the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, we got any additions, corrections?
I'd like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
table number 7 under new business, please.
Okay. Mr. Avanzino?
I'd like to add, under new business, adding the mayor as a signatory for applications regarding wastewater treatment construction funding.
Do you want to just put under your new business the discussion of the recommendations? Because I had about 3 recommendations.
Correct.
For what we needed to do. Okay.
Okay.
Sewer treatment recommendations. All right, anybody else? Anything? All right, all in favor of the agenda as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Get a motion to approve the minutes for December 11th.
So moved.
Second. Any additions, corrections to the minutes that's submitted? No. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. On the commissions, we still have city council. Well, we've got vacancy on the CAPC. And also, I guess this is the time of the year where we select the city council seats for the CAPC. I guess I would like to show hands on who would like to be on the CAPC, who'd like to be considered, and that would take us on how we're going to get voted on.
I'll put my name in.
All right, we have three people. All right, I think what we did, I think the last couple of times was we went ahead and our clerk, we need to write it on position 1, which is consider all 3, and whoever gets the most votes will win. We'll get that, and then we'll continue on to the position 2, and with the third person who's already been selected backed out, and then we'll be based on that too. If that makes sense to everybody. Okay. Do we have any scrap paper or anything?
I'm sorry. I thought we did that last year because there was a lot of. Never mind. I will find some scrap paper. Here, I have paper.
Unless somebody has a better idea of how to do it.
Let's just do, here's some.
Y'all want to just vote? Raise your hands and go
Yeah,
that
let's
way?
just,
All right. We still need,
maybe just go around the table for position 1 and say who you want on there.
well, okay, I'm going to put up for position 1, all those in favor of David Avanzino. Signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. David, that takes care of that. Position 2. All right. Mr. Holyfield. All those in favor of Mr. Holyfield filling position 2, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5.
All right, I think that takes it.
Yep.
Sorry.
Second.
All right,
Seconders.
we will continue on with the same CAPC representatives that we had before. So thank you all very much for your service on the CAPC.
They've done a really good job.
I'm sorry, I didn't get everyone's hands on that. I'm kind of, what was that second vote for Holyfield?
The final vote,
I think it was 5.
I know, but I have to know who voted for who.
All of us.
I think
Yeah.
everybody except for David.
I
No,
Oh, no.
he didn't
I
vote
mean,
for
except-
He
himself.
didn't vote for himself.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it was 5. One no vote.
Thank you.
We still have a vacancy, and I think the CAPC may have somebody. if I'm
Yeah.
not
we
mistaken.
voted our last meeting to nominate somebody. I'm surprised their application isn't in here.
Yeah, that's right. We voted, we approved and voted for Brian Weinman.
I think we should go ahead and vote on him because they approved him and
Yeah. I make a motion to accept Brian Weinman to the CAPC for position 4.
Second.
Yeah, position 4. Do I have a second? Did you second, Mr. Rutherford? All right. Any discussion? I got a motion for Brian Weinerman for position 4 on the CAPC. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Mr. Weinman, if you're here, congratulations. If you're not, you'll find out about it real quickly. Thanks for being a part of the CAPC, and congratulations, Mike, for having a full commission for the first time in many years. So, great. We do have a couple of vacancies. We have one vacancy on Parks and also one on HDC. So anybody out there listening, if you're interested in being on the Parks Commission or the Historic District Commission, come in and fill out an application. At this time, we will hear public comments, and please limit your time to 3 minutes. Pull the microphone down a little bit and we can hear you.
Well, Mr. Mayor, Council, this is the way it should have been a long time ago. If I happen to run over,
Introduce yourself, please, sir.
oh, I'm sorry. Ken Ponell, 6 March Circle, Eureka Springs. Before I start, and if I run over a minute, I apologize, but my wife signed up after I did, and then she decided she didn't want to talk. I admire the work that you all do. I've been there. I've been on planning. Along with that, I would like to raise my hand and salute y'all for what you're doing with the yellow bags. I think there's somebody up there listening to you. I think she's saying, I had to die before I got anybody's attention to do anything with the yellow bags. Lanny Balance, they heard you, finally. For those of you who dealt with Lanny, she was very succinct in her beliefs and what she wanted to do, what she believed in. But when you walked away from the table, if you didn't agree with her, you were still friends. So with that, can I start my 3 minutes? Or does that count?
That counts. Continue.
My first thing is I'd like you to consider whenever you're discussing the waste pickup on the solid waste. I haven't seen the new ordinance, proposed ordinance. What I'd recommend, I hadn't heard any discussion, is if you have the roll-around container, we're paying extra for that. If I have 4 bags in my roll-around container, I don't know if I have to have 2 tags or if I can get away with my roll-around container. I don't think that's clear at this point in time, because if I have to pay for tags for that, then you can have my they can have my container back, which I'm paying a pretty good chunk of money for. I don't know where that's at on the table as far as if that's the number 6 item for, and by the way, I'm in Ward 1 with Ledham. The other thing I'd like to discuss is I have a question. I thought the lawyer was going to be here tonight, but I don't know if I'm headed in the right direction, but I had my house on the market and I had an individual who wanted to come in and totally disrupt the downstairs and turn it into a rental. We live in residential R1. If there's anybody that can, right off the top of your head, tell me if R1 residential, if you can have long-term or short-term rental without any approvals, I'd be glad to know.
He's going to take her. Yeah. Start another 3 minutes for Ms. Bunnell. Yeah. She's waiving her time for him.
Keep talking.
Continue, Ms.
Oh, okay.
Bunnell.
The other thing is, there was a special meeting called for a tree cut. We have 3 diseased trees, pine trees that are over 75 feet tall in our yard that have fallen on my wife's, limbs have fallen on my wife's head where she's got cracked vertebrae. We've been trimming them. We got into a dispute with the people next door and across the street that, we were cutting down trees without approval, which we weren't. We were having them trimmed. We quit at the request of the building inspector. The special meeting was, I don't know what happened, nobody showed up, but we were told that people in the neighborhood knew people on the BOZA and planning that decided not to attend that meeting, so they couldn't address it. So requested that somewhere that the council, if the planning and BOZA is not going to address cutting down the trees, which are endangering safety of public property, our property, private property, and personal welfare, is that I think that the council needs to take action in approving it, or at least finding out why BOZA is not taking action, because they have a meeting tomorrow night and there's nothing new or old on their agenda for that meeting. The last thing, is that it? The trees and the, okay. That's, the big concern is the trees. We've put a lot of money and effort into our trees. So if you've got any, want to come by and see what can clunk down on your head, March Circle is actually not a circle. It's March Lane, but there's a March Lane, and March Circle is, my house correct, over on the west side of town. So appreciate the effort you all are doing. I've been there. Sometimes it's not fun. I know each and every one of you pretty good. Melissa, Terry, and Autumn, and Butch. That's pretty much the ones that I know personally. So thank you again.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Williams. I'm here with Brian Wright, 4119 East Van Buren, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. We're here to discuss issue number 7 of the new business. I believe it's issue number 7 regarding the attachment of municipal water for campgrounds. The big issue that is presented by this regulation is it effectively takes away a vested property right that Brian and his wife Austin through their company have. That property right is a constitutional right that if it is taken away, you're taking away a bundle of sticks in regards to real property, and that requires compensation. We're here in follow-up to the newspaper article which brought into question whether the water right existed, and there were some quotations in there about whether this campground was pre-city annexation, but nevertheless this 50-some-odd-year, coming up on 50-year-old campground has had a water well on it. They purchased the property with that water well, and a attachment that would require them to forego their water rights is something of grave concern. They are prepared to pay for their wastewater disposal. There is letters that have been gone out to the city city on that part. When it comes to the newspaper characterizations, it seemed as if the utility line was a county agreement. This contradicts a position from the city in June of 2022. There's a easement that is to the city of Eureka Springs, not the county. When it comes to it, they're not asking for an exception from the rules. What they are doing is defending a property right. And it's a reasonable position for any landowner to defend that property right, particularly when we're talking about water. So, in further disclosure, in August of 2023, they did make an offer to pay for the discharge via an outflow meter. We're not sure why we can't put an outflow meter around where the force main is to document how much goes through and into the wastewater. That is one of the things they would like to do, and they're ready and willing, able to perform on that. But the assertion to bill sewage off of water for them is also kind of odd because they fill up RV holding tanks. We're not talking about confined commercial operations where all the water that goes through the sinks and through all the drains ends up going back out into the wastewater. So we create some speculation in regards to that. And in that case, the water usage and the sewer usage is not the same. I do apologize for going so fast with the 3 minutes. Kind of given the background and the timeline for this, we're talking about a campground that we believe has been in operation since 1974. The sewer line that was documented with the city of Eureka Springs is February 9th, 1999, and they acquired the property in April of 2020. Out of time, thank you.
All right, so that concludes our public comments for the evening. So we will come up with unfinished business for sewer testing updates. Get a motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Second. Mayor and Council, so don't really have a whole lot of updates to provide today other than we have started acquiring a lot of our additional parts that we need for pumps and that kind of stuff. Bertram showed up today and started installing some overflow call-out systems on our SBRs because when we had that overflow, or if I move this way, if they'll stop doing that, the overflow on the SBR that we had back in September, we have a SCADA system out there that monitors all that stuff, but it doesn't notify us if there's an issue unless you're watching the computer at that time. So they're installing floats that'll detect that a overflow is about to happen to give us enough time to get to the plant and get that rectified. So they're about 50% done with the SBR part of that, and then they'll move over to the lift stations and replace those electrical panels and all that other stuff that you guys approved last year. Stand for any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's your department still. Where are we with the meters, water meters?
So all the meter heads have been installed. We're waiting on the IT people to come and hook up all of our reading equipment. So we're hoping that'll happen in the next couple of weeks.
Do you still have to have somebody go out and drive the streets or?
Yeah, that's correct. So what I ended up doing, if you go look at my truck, it's got a laptop mount in there. We have a laptop that was purchased just for reading meters. We also have a laptop in another one of our trucks that our meter reader drives. And what he'll do is he'll go out with that truck and it has an antenna on it. And he'll drive around, and as he's driving by the meters, it uploads or downloads that.
He doesn't have to punch them in or that. It automatically.
So there are going to be instances where we have dead meters, and we do have still about 65 that are still the old analog style where they'll have to physically read them. But 65 versus 1715 is huge. So it should cut this meter reading back to just a few days per month. We're looking forward to it. We really are.
How you doing on water leaks?
So I did calculate out the November loss, and we were actually down to like 40%. So we dropped almost 20%, so that's pretty
That's-
amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we did find a big leak today at the water tower over across the road from you, the Wanderoo. The 10-inch line that crosses under the highway has cracked and it's leaking. We're in contact with Barrows Excavation out of Berryville. They're going to be working on replacing the couple 2-inch lines that go into the highway and dealing with that as well.
Is there something there at the water tower itself as well, or is that the same?
So there's at the bottom of that water tower there, they have a pressure reducing valve, and that pressure reducing valve, the way it works is it has a big diaphragm and it uses water pressure to kind of turn it on and off. But the part where the water comes out and goes to the diaphragm to control that has rusted out of the PRV. And I have contacted Jack Tyler Engineering. They're supposed to be here before too much longer to get that fixed as well.
Please don't take this the wrong way. But for 3 years, I've been complaining about water draining into our property, which has now pretty much destroyed a historical swimming pool. Has that tower caused that problem?
I can't say yes or no. So they just found the leak today, that 10-inch, and it could have been there. I don't know. I just don't know, to be honest with you.
Because for the 3 years that I've owned it, there's water constantly coming out of the wall off of
Right.
62.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, David, I just don't have an answer for you on that. It's
Okay.
possible.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, Simon, shouldn't they have found a big leak like that when they did the survey?
Yeah, that would be my assumption as well, especially being that close to the water tower. But, we did find those 2-inch water line leaks that are there at the top of Plainer Hill that weren't located during that leak study. So there's always a possibility of some leaks not being found as well. So
Are we going to get the equipment to do it ourselves?
we already have the equipment. We bought
Okay.
it, yeah.
We have the equipment, and they also help to train, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So we've been using it quite a bit. I used it actually myself out at Everett Rock at that leak we had, just trying to find the valves for that thing and figure out where that water was coming from. So,
Cool. Well, maybe, David, they'll bring it by you.
Excuse me?
Maybe they'll bring it by, the equipment by the Wanderoo and find out what that is.
Oh, we're already spending about $250,000 to fix that issue, so.
All right, anybody else have anything for him? Simon, thank you very much.
thank you for your time.
All right. All right, that brings us up to our new business, and the next several items have to do with our annual meetings, rules and procedures. Our next item is establishing which rules and procedures we want to use for 2024.
Motion to discuss.
Second, Ms. Green?
Last year, I made a motion to use Robert's relaxed rules of order, and we changed it to the municipal league, and it ended up that really wasn't what I wanted. In a relaxed rules of order, the mayor can talk with us and interact with us, and I think that's extremely important because really the mayor is the information guy. And I like the informality of it. I like that it's less formal. So I'm going to make a motion that we adopt the relaxed Robert's Rules of Order.
Second.
Yes, ma'am?
Sorry, that's actually flipped. This is what was passed last year, was Robert's Rule of Order and brief, abridged, and you actually wanted the municipal league one.
Yeah.
And so that's why I included the municipal league in your
Yes,
package.
I think Carrie mentioned and said something about, oh, you want this one, and I went, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
It just got confused.
So if you're wanting the one where the mayor can interact, you'll want to make a motion for the municipal league
For this one here.
procedures. Yes.
Okay, and that is the relaxed one?
No.
It has nothing
That
to do
is-
with Robert.
No,
Nothing to
it's
do
not,
with Robert's
it's not, there's no Robert's rules. It's,
Bob didn't write this, just procedural rules.
yeah, procedural rules for municipal officials from the
Okay.
Arkansas Municipal League.
All right, I'll make a motion that
I
we
think,
have.
Autumn, do you want to take it back your second, please?
Yeah, and I'll take my motion back.
I will.
All right. I will make a motion for the procedural rules for the municipal officials.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So
Thank you.
moved.
Ida.
Meeting dates for 2024. Your motion?
Motion to
Yes, sir.
discuss.
Second,
How about if we just keep the same way we're doing it right now?
we'll make a motion.
I make a motion that we continue on with the
Second.
second and fourth Monday.
All right, any further discussion on that? All right, motion's made to have it on the second and fourth Mondays of every month, with the exception possibly of November or December.
Right.
We'll determine that when we get there. All right, is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right, that brings us up to selecting a mayor pro tem for 2024. Mayor pro tem sits in for the mayor if I'm not here.
Motion to discuss.
I'd like to make a motion
Get a
to,
second?
a second, and then I'll make a motion to nominate Mr. McClung as our mayor pro tem.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, motion to have Mr. McClung serve as mayor pro tem for 2024. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That brings us up to discussion of the 2024 budget. Get a motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss?
Second.
All right, I think our wonderful finance director is meandering up here.
Okay, what we've presented to you is what we've come up with as our final draft for the 2024 budget. At this point, we've had the workshops, we've talked about the different things, we've made our adjustments of anything that was asked for that we wanted approved. And so this is where we come out as our final budget. What we would like to do tonight is if there's any questions, any final questions, we can answer those questions. If not, we will be bringing it to the next council meeting for approval because we need it approved by the 1st of February.
Anything here we didn't discuss
No.
already?
Now, everything here is everything that we discussed. Basically, the only really large changes that we made were to the capital expenditures for the police department and adding the dash cams to the body cams, which that's going to be on. It's going to be in 12, Department 12. So that's going to be on page 15 of 26 of the budget. And that's going to be where we added the capital expenditure of $112,000. And that's going to get the new dash cams for the patrol cars, all the software that we need. It's going to get the body cams for the police officers, and it's also going to allow us to keep the body cams that we have to integrate with that system to for reserves to be able to use. So we'll have some extra ones there, and for the building inspector to have one. So, yes, sir.
I guess it'd be on page 9 on the building department. If I got this, look at that line up right. Well, the IT services, his IT services are gonna be $6,500.
Yes, what that has to do with is the majority of that has to do with the new website, because with the new website, we have an overall cost, and then we're adding the modules that we had talked about, where he'll have a module for planning and for building, and Ida'll have a module. So that's kind of why some of their IT expenses went up, is because they've got to pay. I'm expensing those out to those departments.
Is that already in place for him?
Yes, well, it's yes and no. We are in the process of finalizing it. There's a few things left that he has to do with Civic Plus, and then they'll be able to turn the module on.
Is that falling in place as far as you're concerned?
Yes. And this is one of the things that we talked about too when we were talking about adding an assistant for him. When he and I originally talked about this, this was supposed to alleviate a lot of his paperwork. So that he won't be so drowning in paperwork. A lot of it's going to be able to do online. He's actually going to be able to use the module himself and be out in the field and put things in. And like say the mayor needs a new building permit for something, Jacob can put it all in while he's out in the field. Then by the time the mayor gets to City Hall to pay for it, it's all there, or he can go online and pay for it. So it's going to have a lot of aspects that are really going to help him, but that stuff was kind of expensive, so it's going to cost a little bit. Okay. But that's part of our overall budget. And what we budgeted, I think it was like $17,000 for the year, and then we broke it out and put it into the different departments. So that's part of his.
I know also, along that same vein, if you're applying for a building permit for an architect or engineers submitting drawings, they can submit it online and do a lot of things without actually coming in there. So it should save a lot of time in that respect also, because you'll be able to look at
the building module was really impressive. I mean, Ida and I sat through the demonstration of it, and I was very impressed with it because a lot of the stuff, it builds files and puts all the things in there, and then whenever there is a court case or there is a question or whatever, he can go in and create the whole file of all the different aspects of the building part of it and send it over to the attorney or whatever, or whoever needs it. So there was a lot of aspects in there of merging the data together and not having to go pull it out of this file and pull it out over here. It's going to give the ability to have all that stuff together so that it will save some time and some effort there also. Storage, things like that. So I think it's pretty impressive is what it's going to be able to do. So it's going to take us to a level we really haven't been at before. So.
You know, there is something in the budget that we haven't talked about, but we talked about a bit this last year about the band shell at Basin Park and how it's kind of caving in. And it looks like Parks hasn't put any money in the budget for that.
No, CEPC approved a $51,000 allotment to them to start getting work done, the most immediate stuff. We did that at the last meeting, 51,000 something.
So.
Yeah.
And they'll do painting and some repairs to that immediately, and then they'll look at a long-term plan.
It's about to collapse. It's going to take more than painting.
Wow.
No, they're going to address the immediate issues that need addressing now.
Structurally.
All right.
Structural, yes.
Good.
I mean, structural, painting, there's some other stuff there.
Leaks.
It's part of the big plan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And another thing to take into consideration too is all of these numbers that are just coming out for the water sewer treatment plant. That's all like within the last few days. So that is not addressed in here. But we can't really address it because we don't know if we're going to get grants, loans, what we're going to get, how much is going to actually have to come out of our cash. So that will be a working part of the budget that like these guys were saying, that like within the next few months, if we get more information on what kind of grants or loans or whatever, then at our mid-year, we'll hit that, aggressively.
And same time, the water rates too.
Yes.
When they start being increased.
Now, the water rate analysis is currently being done, right, Simon? Okay. Okay.
What did he say, Mike?
He said it hasn't. I thought he told us.
I think he said they're hired.
They've
hired the
I thought he
consultant.
told us this morning it was already in the works. But what the rate analysis is going to do is, with the act, the Water Act, we're going to have to address with that, it's going to give us an endpoint of where we have to be on water rates at a certain time by legislation. And then once that's done, our goal is going to be, how do we get there? Do we make a couple of big adjustments? Do we make 4 or 5 big adjustments? But we can lay that all. A lot of the cities, we're monitoring a lot of the cities, Fort Smith, Greenwood, a lot of the different areas that are having to address the same problem. And what they're trying to do, and that I want to do, is where we put in our ordinance that we're going to raise them here, have specific dates, milestones, what we need to get to that final of what we have to have. so that we're not constantly coming back and going, well, in 6 months we got to raise them, 6 months we got to raise them. So that way the citizens are going to know, we're going to know, the water department's going to know how we're going to get there. So, yes, sir.
All right.
This is my first budget round as being the first year as city council. And I've noticed a couple of things that's really surprised me. And we talked about the sidewalks, and then we're told there's other big projects in town. But I don't see that addressed in this budget. And I don't think we should operate it on a reaction crisis mode. It's like, let's see a list of stuff that we need to address, and can we put it in a plan or something? Our budget for CAPC came up with, their stuff needs to be done to this building. But is that the responsibility of the city, or is that the responsibility of CAPC? Does CAPC own this building?
No,
or
the
does
city
own
owns
it?
this building, but any repairs or adjustments that are made to this building would have to go through us, and at that time, it would be determined who would pay for it. Because there's some things, if it's a repair that has to be made, then that's one thing. If it's a cosmetic thing, something they want, new lights or whatever, that's on them.
Right.
So that's different. What projects are you talking about that are not in the budget, because we've tried to address almost everything?
We were told that they didn't, looking for water leaks, they found some major problems underneath this building. There's going to be some major repairs, including foundation, stuff like that, that Simon saw when he was doing leak inspections and stuff. And we haven't
Address
heard
it 'cause
anything
you
else
haven't talked
about
to me
that.
about
So.
So as far as Public Works is concerned, a lot of our planning will be done with that, with McClellan Engineering, with our rate analysis, because what we're going to do is come up with a game plan for the next 5 or so years of the things we could do and how we could afford to do that. And then they recommend every approximately 5 years to reevaluate your rates anyways. So we'll redo that process again in another 5 years and keep on going. And that'll pretty much handle that. As far as the street side goes for Public Works, you know, we kind of use the phaser model on the streets themselves to determine what streets need to be worked on first to keep them in good shape. So that's kind of covered under that as well. But as far as like the drainage tunnel into the building here and that kind of thing, we don't really have anything to do with the drainage structures that are underneath the buildings because of the liability that's associated with that. If my crew were to work on the tunnel down here and it causes a collapse, it collapsed the building in there, you know, how would we ever financially recover from that? We just can't do that. So, you know, we work with the property owners as much as possible. I have my crews inspected as well, just to try to keep a leg up on what's going on down there. But as far as the planning on that, you know, each department has their own way of doing things, planning for the future.
So I have a memo from Scott Barton that said when you all went underneath this building to look for water leaks, you found water leaks, and you also found major foundation issues and stuff. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
true?
correct. So they do have termite damage underneath this building, and then in that tunnel, the plumbing for this building, they have galvanized lines. My recommendation to Scott, one of them was leaking, was to have those replaced with a PAX poly pipe, get rid of that galvanized. So under the lead and copper ruling, if we have galvanized in our system anywhere where there might have been lead at one time, we have to replace that galvanized as well because that lead sticks to that galvanization and you know, essentially turns it into lead pipe itself. So as far as those repairs are concerned, it's not a huge cost. He just needs to hire a plumber to get down there and do it. I mean, that's not, to me, that's everyday expense of, you know, of doing business. The structural issues, they have termite damage underneath the building. And as far as getting that fixed, that, you know, we talked to him about hiring a contractor to look at that. The mayor and I, we discussed it a few times about getting somebody in to look at that's qualified to do that kind of work and try to give us a price. But I don't know that it'd be terribly expensive either, you know, in the grand scheme of things. So.
Okay. Because again, a lot of that's wooden columns and they just need to be replaced. Most of this building's out of stone. You can look around the perimeter, what you see is here is what you see down below.
A stone wall about that thick.
Yeah. Now we got some underneath here on the other side. We do have some wood columns. Yeah, they're sitting up, and that's where the termites are because of the creek. But again, it's no major deal. In reference to your budget on different things, I'm working with Simon and actually with McClellan on getting some long-range plan for water and sewer. To me, that's our infrastructure. Now, I haven't gotten any place. And of course, we've worked with Michael today and talking about, you know, all of a sudden we got hit last week, or well, within the last month, the $6 million expenditure, we weren't really thinking about too much. Now we're having to, how are we funding that? How are we going to tear that? What are we going to do for, and those are items that from an administrative and executive level I'm looking at and trying to get so I can present to the city council and say, here's some recommendations on where I would like to go and what I'd like to do. And here's some possible methods of funding. And so, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months, we'll be able to make a presentation to the council on some of the long-range plans.
Okay.
And the Planning Commission really should be helping somewhat. The Planning Commission really doesn't have any business dealing with sidewalks. The Planning Commission needs to deal with planning, with zoning and those things, not with the sidewalks and infrastructure. Those are areas that we have to deal with, and then we bring to the council for the council to make the determination on there. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does, thank you.
The CAPC rules, the legislation that sets it up says that the CAPC can spend money on a venue as long as it's owned by the city. So the CAPC has spent money on this building, and you can still spend money on this building. It's not, you don't have to wait till the city authorizes you to do it.
Right.
Anything, there's some confusion. Somebody asked me the other day, well, who owns the auditorium? Well, it's the city. Same thing. Who owns Lake Leatherwood? It's the city. Who owns the water towers? Anything to do with the city basically owns. Now, the CAPC has the authority and over the auditorium by that. Parks Commission uses the Lake Leatherwood and all those facilities, plus a lot of others. So we distribute those among the commissions, but ultimately it all comes back to the city and to the city council.
But then you get in things like the city charges the auditorium for parking.
Beg your pardon?
The city charges the auditorium for parking for events and stuff like that. It's like,
We've negotiated with the county. We lease the parking lot from the county. We don't even own the parking lot. So we lease it from the county.
Right.
So what we do is try to recoup our money from that parking revenue to pay the county.
okay.
I want to say $24,000
Yeah, something like that.
a year.
I'm not real sure. I'd have to
Yeah.
look.
It
County
was
also
last
like-
year, it was on 24.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and we don't own the courthouse. That we don't own. That's the county.
Okay.
So, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, coming back to the budget, I don't know.
And another thing too, on the budget, one of the things is, this is our operating budget. This is our daily operating budget. Some of the things that we're talking about now are more capital expenditures. We don't have $6 million. We don't have it. That's it, period. I mean, if I pulled every dime we had out, we don't, we could barely cover it. But the thing is so there may be grants, there may be loans, and so we don't want to budget for $6 million when, we may end up only having to pay $200,000. The rest of it comes within grants and loans, just like that. So that's why your budget is a working budget, and that's why we have our mid-year budget review to kind of, we get to it, we bring it to the council, get the approval, that kind of stuff, and then go on. And also, when we're talking about sources of fundings too, and this is just something I wanted to bring up because I thought of a while ago when we were talking about, when I was looking at the slide. We need to be careful on our sources of funding about what we commit to, because we need to be able to make sure that we can cover our part of it if we have to. Like if it's a grant, if it's a matching grant or something, and they say, it's $6 million and we'll pay half of it and you're going to pay the other half of it. That's when we need to stop and look at these things and go, okay, what are we obligating ourselves to? Even in a loan, on the payments, can we afford to make them? Those kind of things. So those are decisions that we will have to make on down the road once we see what's available. They're in the stages of applying for these things for us, which is great. And whenever it comes back to what there is, that's when we'll have to sit down. That's when I'll bring it to you. And then you guys will have to decide, is this something that we can commit the city to? So.
Great.
Any other questions on the budget?
All righty, guys. So we'll bring it to the next budget, or to the next council meeting for approval. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. All right, next item is ordinance mandating connection to municipal water.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right. Ms. Lane, I think we have an ordinance here. You want to
I
discuss
know.
this a little bit?
I just saw the ordinance. I don't think that we should make it mandatory that they connect. I thought we were more making it mandatory that they just pay for the sewage. So whether that meant putting a meter on their well or putting a meter on their sewage usage, that's what I thought we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to second this. I just passed around just a brief snapshot of some historical documents dating back to Kettle Campground. And you can see there are these on the last 2 pages. These are stamped in 1999. The business has been in effect since then. I did a site visit out there yesterday. Completely ran off of well water. There is no reason to have them tap into our water system. They are in complete agreement with having a meter set on their wastewater pump. They have no qualms about that at all, to pay for that, and I completely agree with that. You'll see in one of these pages that one of their neighbors is threatening to block the sewer pump, which I wish Forrest was here, because I do believe that that's actually illegal. So, and we're going on 20 years of them using their own water to run their own business. And all we need to do is charge them for wastewater.
Simon, can you come up here for a moment, please, sir?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
why should we give one customer, an alternative to what everyone else in town has to do? They have to be hooked to our water system. Their bill is calculated on the water system. These folks have not paid a dime for their sewage since 1999. I don't know. It sounded like it started with unclean hands, and maybe these people weren't the people that owned it to begin with. But, I don't see any agreement with the city. It's County Claro,
Well, one of the things,
Stephen Dickens.
one of the things that you'll see in the easements is, let me find it. I also myself invited Mr. Williams and Brian to come and speak on this issue.
While you look for that, I truly believe that we cannot take this away. We cannot take them using their well away from them. If you have a well on your property.
For irrigation and property rights, the city has rights too, especially when it comes to the water and sewer system.
Are there other properties in the community that have wells?
There are some, there's properties up on Mill Hollow Road that have wells, and we meter their well. So the problem is with
Speak a
billing.
little bit closer to the microphone,
I'm
please.
sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice.
Yeah.
The problem with the billing off the sewer usage, that's where the problem is, because our ordinance says right now that we bill off of water usage, right? So we bill off the water, what is essentially sold for water. So the people that have wells, we have them well metered to where we're getting their usage. We're not billing them for the water, because of course they're not buying the water from us, but we'll bill them for that sewer component of that. We have nobody in the city whatsoever hooked up through a sewer meter.
Okay, so I'm sorry, go ahead, Terry.
Mr. McClung?
Well, I know where you're going with that, and I just want to say, and I'll let you follow up with that. I'm of the opinion that they're grandfathered in on that well anyway. You know, I think if you were to take it to court, I think you're going to, you know, find yourself, it's a state-approved well for commercial business, so it's a legal operation. So, you know, and it's been there for, well, as long as the Kettle Campground has been there, so, you know, I think there's something to be said for their position, absolutely.
Mr. Avanzino, did you want to?
Yeah, so Simon, go back to what you were saying about a metered well. How does that work?
So what they do is they essentially have a plumber come out and put a setter, if you will, and then we install a meter on that. The meter will have to be one of our meters that connects to our system. The same thing if we were to do a sewer meter would have to be compatible with our Itron system that we're using right now because of our drive-by reading. So all the wells that we have right now, they have the Itron meters that we have. Now, I don't know how exactly they were set up in the past. I'm not 100% sure if we own that meter or if the customer owns that meter. I'm not too sure because, you know, we have the meter deposits and all that kind of stuff, the installation that goes in with it and the fees associated with that. So if the meter, my personal opinion is if somebody would purchase their own meter for their well, as long as it was a meter that, like the iPearls that we use, and it worked with our system, then I would be okay with that. But
Well, I guess I'm asking,
theirs to maintain.
why are you going to charge someone for water coming from a well on property that they own? And I completely understand the wastewater. I get that. But for water usage, that I don't understand.
Ms. Green?
I believe Mr. McClung is right. They are grandfathered in the planning code book, and I'm assuming it's our city code book. There's something, it's like 180 days. If the city does not react to something, it becomes legal for them to do. And the city has not reacted since like 1999. No, it's in our planning. No?
Mr. Avanzino?
Steve.
You look at me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Holyfield.
I get
Yeah, I'm
that-
looking
I
at
get that
you
a
and I'm
lot.
sorry.
They look so much alike.
Yeah, you look so much alike.
Well, my understanding of this, we're going to meter the water so we can charge for the sewer.
That's correct.
Yes, yeah.
So it's not that we're going to charge for the water. You just- So you know how much water is going
Well,
out? then
after,
you could
yeah,
charge
after
it.
reading the ordinance, it was like, okay, this is not,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
No, that's
I was not aware of that.
Aren't those wells in Mill Hollow for irrigation? That's what the city attorney told me.
No, there was a gentleman that spoke here during that last discussion about the water, this meter issue from up on Mill Hollow, and he has some rentals. He has a well that he provides water to all his rentals, but he uses our sewer for the discharge, and the well itself is metered, and that's how we bill him off the sewage.
He has a well that he's providing his rentals.
That's correct.
Is that an inspected water?
It would be, that'd be a state.
Is that state
Department of Health.
licensed water? That's the
Yeah.
big problem, isn't
But
it?
the campground is state approved. I mean, they're testing their water. They're doing everything they're supposed to be doing.
I
It's just
understand. I'm
our-
asking about Mill Hollow now.
Yeah. So, yeah, it depends on how many connections you have to that well, that where it comes into that. So I don't know if he has 3 or more. I don't know how many connections. I don't think he's in the city limits either, though, so,
Oh, well,
yeah.
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion, if it's required, that we authorize your office, Public Works, whoever, to pursue the water meter for the well system
I'll
and
second.
bill them accordingly.
I have a question. I'm a little confused. Because we're dealing with a campground, is there more sewage at a campground than there is water usage as a residential?
I think that's the biggest issue with them is they don't want their well metered. They want their sewer metered. But our ordinance says that we meter it through the water. So you know, it's either we put a meter on their well and that doesn't need nothing needs to tell us to do that, we just do it. Or we meter their sewage, which that would have to have another amendment to the ordinance.
I'll second Terry's motion. I think that's the best solution. Just meter their well. We're
Mr.
not
Evans,
taking their
any-
well away from them.
I'm going to respectfully disagree on metering someone's well that's on their private property, that's been there, and they haven't been billed for the past 25 years for water coming from their well that they dug, that they placed. I completely agree on placing a well for wastewater. I completely agree with that. And I think we're treading a very fine line by metering people's wells in this town.
So the well metering is because we're basing it off their water usage. And we're not billing them for the water.
We're not-
using their
yeah.
water usage as a basis for the sewer fees. They don't,
And how does that work?
so what happens is, say you use 2,000 gallons this month out of a well, we're going to bill you 2,000 gallons for wastewater. We're not going to bill you the water component of it. You don't pay for the water. You pay for the wastewater side of it. So our ordinance says we're billing off the water usage. That means you bill it off the well because that's how you know what the water usage is that they're using at their facility. Otherwise,
But
you don't know.
2,000, let's say they're using 2,000 gallons of water from their well. That's not 2,000 gallons of wastewater going into our system.
But say your business, you use 2,000 gallons of water at your business, but you watered your garden and it didn't go into wastewater. Do we separate that out?
Yeah, I wash my car.
Yeah.
It doesn't go into the sewer.
So, I mean, it's all hypothetical. You don't know. We don't know. I mean, that's unknown variable.
So is there an issue with putting a meter to measure wastewater only?
There is. We'd have to create another ordinance for that.
I mean, because they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, the ordinance right now is that we charge based upon water usage for the wastewater. So right now, there's already people using wells that they have a meter on. So you would have to do another ordinance, and then those particular people too would also be affected by this ordinance.
Yeah, we don't
that are
have to change an
currently-
ordinance, but just metering
Just one
their
at a
well.
time, please. Okay.
I'm sorry.
It sucks.
Mr. Evans, any?
I'd like to make a motion to table
We already
this.
got, we got
We
a
got a
got a
motion. Oh, sorry.
motion and a second. Yeah, sorry.
Forgot.
All right, any further discussion on that motion? Would you like to repeat that motion? Because
Mr. McClung made a motion to authorize your office or Public Works to install a meter on the well.
To negotiate the installation, yeah, I mean, it's, you got to get the other side to agree to it. You can't just go arbitrarily and do it.
so how do you want to phrase your motion?
I make a motion that we, that we have the city meet with the campground people, and with an agreement to install a water meter on their well.
To determine the sewer
Yes.
price.
All right.
And
do
I
I-
seconded it.
And I'll second that.
Okay. I understand the motion is to enter into an agreement with the owners of Kettle Campgrounds to install a water meter that will determine the sewage rate.
Yes. That's
Do I
fine.
understand that? All right, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
All right, 5-1. All right. Okay, next ordinance is changing solid waste collections. Ms. Slane, you'll get a motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right.
So the trash bags are now going to be 2 bags plus a bag tag or a trash can, as many bags that will fit in that trash can.
With the lid closed.
With the lid closed, that's right, yeah. Answer your no?
Autumn, isn't it a trash can provided by the county?
No.
No?
It can
Okay.
be no.
Mr. Myers?
Carroll County Solid Waste, remember they brought 2 of those big things in here? They must have the big one because they're renting it. They give you a free one if you take the small one. We didn't know that. But that's what they, remember when Carroll County Waste was here?
That was my understanding.
I don't remember him saying that, but
I
I
don't
guess
remember
if you
them
say
saying
he did,
that
I'll.
either.
I don't remember
believe you for
them
the
saying they're
moment.
going to charge for it.
Okay, thanks.
I think we should probably ask
anyway.
them, because I recall if you had their, let's say that you had their biggest bin, you could put as many yellow bags as you wanted as long as the lid was closed, and they're going to pick it up. But
Yes.
the cart has to come from them.
Yes, well, you always have the option to buy a cart, or you can do the 2-bag system. If you do the cart, then it's however big you want your cart, and you can fill it full. If you choose to do the 2-bag system, you can get a 35-gallon trash can, any 35-gallon trash can, and fill it with the lid all the way down, or fill it full with the lid closed. And then, or you can do 2 trash bags with the 3rd bag being tagged. If that's clear. Sorry.
35-gallon bags.
35.
'Cause they also mentioned if you use 2 like tall kitchen bags that equals 35 gallons, it's okay.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
I like that.
2 35-gallon bags. So if your kitchen trash bag is a 10-gallon, you could, have 3 to 4 bags out there,
As long as it equals up to 35.
as long as it, yes.
Mr. Meyer?
It says any overflow or waste, a bag of waste over 2 bags not marked with a bag tag will be left on the curb. Then we're going to have trash scattered all over town. I really don't like that idea because, dogs and wildlife and so forth will get into the trash that's then left laying out on the curb. I don't know. They've been picking up all of our bags, regardless of how many yellow bags we put on the street. Some weekends, some people put out 2 or 3. So you cleaned out the garage and you put out one of those great big 33-gallon bags. But normally, you only put, like myself, one of those 15-gallon bags a week, if that. So I get to one of those weeks where I've cleaned out the garage or something happened, I had to get rid of some trash, and I put the big bag out there, that means I got to pay extra for it. That means our trash bill has gone up. Is there any adjustment to our individual trash bills if we are limited to fewer bags?
Well, you can buy extra bags, buy an extra tag for extra bags, is my understanding.
That's an addition to your trash bill. That increases your cost for trash. Does it not?
You're saving up to $9 for the bigger trash bags by not buying the yellow bags, depending on your usage, how long those last you. For most homes, they last probably a month at the most.
I use the small bags, that's $7.
But you're by yourself.
Yep.
There's not everybody in town is a loner.
Ms. Lane?
I'm sorry, Carrie.
Like you and me,
I'm
huh?
sorry, but
All right, Ms. Lane?
In reference to the yellow bag, we are spending $30,000 in trash bags every year for the city. We only receive $35,000 in revenue for those trash bags. It is only a matter of time before we're going to have to raise those prices.
Of course, the reason we have those bags to begin with, they're thin, they're flimsy, that's right. And it's because that makes less consumption of items that contribute to global warming and the whole business. You know, they're flimsy because we wanted them to be flimsy to begin with.
That's correct.
As far as recycling is concerned, everybody's recycling more and more. So the only argument against our yellow bags is the fact that people don't want us to just stuff them with all kinds of stuff to break them. And that's where the education broke down, because really and honestly, it was a pretty good system. Yes, you have to be careful with the bag, but so far I haven't run into any big accidents with my yellow bags. I know I'm alone, but
Poor guy.
I stuff it full.
Mr. Holyfield?
Well, I understand the history is that what money was left over was used for education, and the city stopped doing that a while back. So now there's even a smaller amount to use, even if we wanted to use it for education. So as a citizen, I'm paying for my trash, and I'm paying for these yellow bags. So I have to go to Harts or down here to get these bags to set out my trash, and I never use more than 35 gallons. So I'm just going through the motion of purchasing these bags for no apparent reason whatsoever that I can see. So.
Ms. Green, did you have a?
Oh, I was just going to say I had a possum in my trash can.
You have to buy trash bags anyway, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Is there another trash bag that is cheaper than the
Well, if I don't have the yellow bags, then I'll have to make a special trip down to Harts, and I have the other black bags, so I
You
can't
have
use
the
those.
other bags?
Yeah, I have those for other stuff, like yard stuff.
But Harts isn't that far away. This is a small town. It's open 7 days a week.
I pay for trash
sorry.
already. I don't see a need to
all
pay
right.
for additional bags.
Ms. Slane?
I hope to continue this education further. I know that the yellow bags, in the beginning, it was all about the education and it was encouragement of recycling. But what it's caused now is an unlimited bag of however many you want to throw out there, as long as you put a yellow bag. That's not helping our recycling program. And we've got to continue the education. The bag tags are going to provide a little bit of income for that piece.
Mr. McClung?
How long have we been doing this with the yellow bags?
30 years? 20, 30?
I've been throwing them away for 30 years because I've been doing it the whole time. And quite frankly, it's no big deal. It's really not. You know, I don't know that I don't know that changing is going to really resolve anything. I don't think there's going to be more or less trash that's missed. I think it's probably going to be about the same, because the people that do that kind of thing they're going to continue doing it. And those that want to be responsible, like most of us, of mankind, will try to be responsible and recycle. And so I think it's fine the way it is. But I'm open to whatever, you know. I'm just along for the ride.
Mr. Almanzina, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment that the next trash day, if we'll just drive through the streets of downtown, little shop, there's no way that they're using 5 yellow bags a week.
They don't use yellow bags.
You'll see them stacked up.
They're commercial, they don't have to.
We
though.
don't have to.
Then
That's what I'm saying. You're going to see yellow
They're paying 75
bags.
cents a bag that they don't need to be paying for.
Well, no, what I'm saying is you're going to see yellow bags because everybody's coming in and dropping their crap off on our doorsteps.
I have an anecdote for that.
No. All right.
Well, my issue was just the flimsiness of these bags, but it was pretty disheartening at the last meeting when Carroll County Waste was here and said, people out in the country are buying those bags and bringing their garbage in here. This will stop that. I want to really much agree with Terry. I hope all of us will be responsible. A few weeks ago, somebody came in here and talked about losing charm in this town. And one of the charms of this town is we are very environmental. We really care. And so I want to keep keep it up and keep the education up, because it is important.
Mr. Meyer?
Well, I don't know why, but this last Wednesday morning, I drove by there Tuesday night on the way out on East Mountain, and there's that empty lot where it hits 62 that I guess the Johnsons own. And there was 4 or 5 bags, big yellow bags, together, and empty trash cans next to it. Now, there's people who live down Drennan that put their trash out there, but these were bags. And Wednesday morning when I went out, they were still laying there. So you know me, I opened up a bag and I found somebody's bill. And there's this guy that lives the other side of Holiday Island whose bill was in that trash bag. So I took it to the police department, and the police chief, being like me, he just went right out to the guy's house and knocked on his door. And he says, "Oh no, I take mine to Emilio's," and the police chief calls on Emilio's, and the guy at Emilio's says, "Yeah, I let him bring his trash to my dumpster." Well, then what is his bill doing in the trash?
Oh, my gosh.
Out there on East Mountain, so I don't know but Carroll County Solid Waste is going to pick it up.
Mr. McClung?
We don't have a motion on the floor, so I don't know if I can call a question or not, but I'm done with
Not
this
really,
one.
technically.
Make a motion to sign it an ordinance.
Ms. Lane, you want to make a motion?
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
I'll make a motion to sign in this new ordinance for solid waste collection.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to sign this ordinance a number and read for its first reading. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Is that just one?
It's just one.
2.
2? Okay, 4-2. Mr. McClung and Mr. Myers.
the 2 loners over there.
Yeah.
Alrighty, assigning ordinance number 2348, an ordinance changing solid waste collection. Whereas the current Eureka Springs City Municipal Code, Title 5, Chapter 12, Section F1, provides that residential customers shall be required to contain their solid waste in bags embossed with the city's logo. Whereas bags embossed with the city's logo are costly and of poor quality, whereas unmarked trash bags are more convenient and effective. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs that Eureka Springs City Municipal Code, Title 5, Section 12, F1 is hereby amended as follows. Section 1, standard trash service shall be 2 bags or cans up to 35 gallons. Section 2, additional 35-gallon bags of waste must be identified with a bag tag. Bag tags can be purchased for $1.75 each at City Hall or where designated by the city. Any overflow or excess bag of waste over 2 bags not marked with the bag tag will be left on the curb.
All right. Got a motion to approve the reading ordinance number, what was the number?
Motion to approve ordinance 2348 on its first reading.
Second.
I just wanted to ask a question real quick.
Mr.
can.
McClung?
Yeah, I've got a question. Additional, let's see, standard trash service shall be 2 bags or cans up to 35 gallons. So you can have 2 35-gallon cans with bags in it? Is that
Oh, it
what
should
I'm
be.
reading or not?
It should be can up to 30. The S should be taken out. You are correct.
Yeah, it should be 1 can,
It should be 1 can.
1 can.
They're
So
saying
can
1
you
can
amend
will
your
hold
motion?
2 35-gallon
Yes.
bags? Is that what?
Yeah.
It'll hold 11 with Harry, but
You don't have a possum in it.
What do we need now?
All right, do I have a motion to approve the ordinance 2343 on its first reading? Somebody make that motion?
Do you want to approve it first, or do you want to rescind your motion and correct that first?
I'll rescind it.
No, don't do that. Just vote on it and then do it
Okay.
for the
We
next
can, we
one.
can
Oh,
change
we'll
it
do it
next
next
meeting.
one. All
Yeah,
right,
next
all
one,
right.
next
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So I still need a motion to approve. Did
She-
somebody make it and somebody seconded?
I second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor of ordinance 2343 on its first reading, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Is that 4-2?
Did you say no, David?
I did, but I meant to say yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Yes, no, maybe so.
It's been a long
All
meeting.
right,
Looking at me, Harry.
okay. All right, anything else, anybody? It's the last item on our agenda.
No, we got the discussion of the sewer plant, and we're so,
Oh,
we
yeah,
need
we
Yeah.
got-
we'll
yeah, we got the
probably
big one
approve
coming up.
12
yeah.
million.
Yeah, all right, get a motion to discuss sewer plants.
I move we discuss the sewer, or wastewater recommendations.
Yeah,
Second.
all right. I think we need four. First thing is, you get a motion to approve for me to apply for the
I think the first thing is the signatory,
signatory on the
yeah,
front.
authorizing the mayor to sign.
Yeah.
You have a list, you
I-
give it to somebody to make the motions. One of us to
I'll make
the motion.
I'll make the motion to authorize the mayor to sign for our sewer wastewater.
Sewer funding.
Sewer
ARNC
funding.
funding.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I believe that has to be done by resolution. I didn't receive it till the meeting started.
Just not to apply for the motion, to apply for it.
For
to
the
sign it.
signatory,
Yeah.
I have it right here. No one sent it to me before the meeting, so I have it now. I don't know. Yeah, that needs to be done, so we can either do that this meeting or next meeting.
Okay. My clerk says we can't do it except by resolution.
That's not from me. That's the email that was forwarded to me that was sent at the beginning. You can do
Where'd
it
it come
however
from?
you want. I'm just saying this is from Zane
Who
Lewis.
did it come from?
It came from Zane Lewis, and Simon forwarded it to me. So I don't know. You're welcome to do whatever you want. I'm just saying that that's what I received.
That's true, it'll have to be a resolution
Okay.
authorizing the mayor to
All right,
sign.
well, we'll just get a motion then. I need that motion rescinded that was
Okay,
made.
I'll rescind the motion.
I rescind my second.
Okay, and get a motion to.
I'll make a motion that we have a resolution to allow the mayor signage for
Yeah.
the sewer treatment,
Second.
wastewater.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, also then, and I don't think these need a resolution, do they? The approval for the budget, $6 million.
I don't know. I just take what's given to me.
Yeah.
I make a
No
motion, we
resolution.
approve the budget for $6 million for
I'll
the
s-
wastewater improvement.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
All right. So we got a motion to approve the project for $6 million for the wastewater treatment.
Well, I'm not sure that's exactly how you want to do that.
We're
is
putting
it?
the
Is
cart
that-
before the horse.
I think we need to worry about getting the funding first. I think that's the primary thing, is getting that signatory for the mayor to be able to sign for the funding. That way, Colin could.
Zane, you want to come up here for a
apply
moment
that
and help us
funding.
out here?
Yeah, no, the signatory authority is the most important thing to do today, so we can get that moving, because that's the thing that takes time. The other thing that, if you wanted to move on today, would be to authorize the pursuit of the construction manager, which does require this request for qualifications to be published in the paper in some time.
All we need to do then is just go ahead and I can do that just by,
Right.
yeah, putting out requests for qualifications. So that doesn't require anything from the city council.
So I rescind my motion to.
And rescind my second.
All right, so there's nothing else on this that we need to do tonight?
Do we want to have a special meeting to get that resolution done? Get-
Vote
do we-
on this.
We can have a special meeting. Can we wait 2 weeks, or we want?
Waiting 2 weeks is not a problem. We were just looking at the dates. The very first deadline is January 15th, but that's not the one that the resolution is required for. That one is not due till March.
Okay, so we can wait for 2
2
weeks.
weeks is fine.
Wait
Yeah.
2 weeks, okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you very much. All right,
That was easy.
okay, so I think that brings us down to the agenda setting. Anybody have anything for top of your head? All right, city council comments. Mr. Avanzino. start on your
Yeah,
side.
just want to thank everyone for having a safe holiday season. Like I said before, it was very nice to see all the lights up again, lots of festivities. I'd like to thank Black Hills Energy for everything that they did, the Parks Department. I know we have some severe weather coming. It's flashing back and forth between really bad and not so bad, but be safe, wrap your pipes, drip your water, take care of your animals, all that good stuff.
Mr. Holyfield?
CAPC voted on, or did a workshop on their budget last meeting. Everything looks really good. Really happy that we're a full commission now. Seemed like we were struggling with 4 people. It was scaring me a lot. One person was sick, we couldn't have a meeting. So I'm glad that's happened and look really optimistic about the coming year. Thank you.
Ms. Green?
Well, I'd like to say, this is kind of back to Eureka as normal, and our winters can be tough and really hard. So I'm going to ask everybody, people sitting here, the public, if you have money, please support our businesses, support our restaurants, our stores, our other businesses, because it's tough, and we want those people back, and especially our restaurants. They're the heart and soul of this town. That's what people come here for. So please, if you have some extra money, go out and support them, please.
Ms. Lane?
Thank you all for your conversation today over the trash bags and the sewage. Absolutely. Thank you, David and Steve, for serving on the CAPC. I'm so proud to have you guys there. Thank you.
Well, we covered a lot of controversial stuff this evening, and nobody's throwing rocks at anybody else, so I guess we've done all right. That's the way this stuff works. It's not easy to be on the city council.
And we found out you two are loners.
Mr. McClung?
I'm excited about the potential for the not new, but redoing the sewer plant and getting it up to what it really needs to be for this town. It's been a tough one ever since I've been here. It's just the city has struggled with that. ADEQ has been on our backside the whole time, off and on, more on than off. It's going to be very expensive. We're going to have to get creative, but we can do it.
Yep.
We really can do it. And what I like about these kind of things is we're looking down the road, and that's the kind of things that we need to be doing, is looking for those that'll live here down the road, not us. That's all.
I want to thank City Council again for, like Mr. McClung was saying, stepping up and getting something started on the sewer plant, something that's been needed for a long time, and I'm glad we're taking those steps that we need to take. It's not going to be fun, but it's going to be something that we need to do, and it's time we've done it. We should have did it a long time ago. I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. And, we've got some good music coming up here this month. The 10th Annual Ozark Mountain Music Festival is coming up January 18th through the 21st. This is a 4-day musical extravaganza, which will take place in 3 venues in downtown Eureka and will feature a fusion of American roots and modern folk music. And then on the 20th at 7 p.m. here in the auditorium is the Old Crow Medicine Show. That's going to be a great show too. So if y'all get a chance, come out for that and be safe in the next couple of days and be careful.
Old Crow Medicine Show.
Get
That's
a
you and
motion
me, Terry.
to adjourn.
Move the adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all, everybody.